So, welcome to the Spiritual Success Podcast. This is episode number 2, but two, not 4, but 2. And I'm just so thrilled to be able to bring to you these conversations with amazing experts in their field to help you live into the dream that you're meant to live, in order to support you in making the impact that you are here to make. And it just so happens that the people that I'm bringing to you just happen to be some of my favorite people on the planet. So make sure that you share where you're watching from and drop the gold nuggets in the comment section, whether you're watching this live or on the replay. And just really let yourself receive the gift of this brilliant guidance that I'm bringing to you. And my guest for this podcast, this episode, again, to support you in creating the impact that you are here to make, to deepen your awareness of what is it to build a work built on spiritual principles in order for you to be able to create a life that you love. And oh, by the way, if you don't know me, my name is Felicia Searcy, and I am your Dream Life Activator. All right, so I want to introduce to you two of my favorite people. They just happen to be sisters, JoDee Turner and Kara Christensen, both co-owners of Elevate 5. So let me read. I just have JoDee's bio. So Kara, I'm just going to make it up for you. All right. So here's JoDee's bio. JoDee Turner is the CEO and co-founder of Elevate 5 Digital Marketing. She grew her professional roots in corporate academia and then entered into entrepreneurship with her sister, full of hope and that necessary delusion that one must embrace to take the journey willingly. In 2018, JoDee and her 2 children made the big move from Wisconsin to Colorado and settled into a home nestled into the mountains. Today, JoDee and her beautiful blended family still call the sweet spot home. Thank heavens for fiber optics, mountain views, home additions, and new beginnings. So that's JoDee. And Kara, I don't know a whole lot about you, but what I do know is that Kara is a brilliant behind the scenes, that, she is the creative direction of Elevate 5, that she can be quiet, but that quietness does not reflect the mighty force that is Kara.
That is said so well, Felicia. I love that.
Yeah, thank you.
So,
my goodness.
All right. So let's get into this. So if you could, so the main focus that I want to help people with is to get really clear around what are the other supports that will help them move their desire, move their impact forward. And so what is it that you do to help people really live into their impact?
Oh, Felicia, I love that question. And I think, how you've described us as so generous and we love showing up just that way. I think that's where we always nerd out when Kara and I get to have some Felicia time, because our beliefs so align in that you really have to show up on purpose and intentionally to create a business that you love, and then the resulting freedom in life that you love too. Because when one of those elements is missing, then the results are more flat, right? You might still love them in the process, you're still creating, but they're just not as powerful and as significant as you were designed for. So Kara and I combine forces, and we jokingly say that together we make one whole functioning adult, because we've been doing life together for a fat minute, and we know where each other stand up and fall down, and we're good at supporting that. And we do that same thing for our entrepreneurs. So that's very intentionally an element that we bring to the table, because we hear a lot that people don't want to do it alone.
Yep.
They don't really have a roadmap, so not only is the spiritual growth that you help people with very intimidating, so is the marketing growth. Like, what do I say? Who do I say it to? Is my brand on point? Is it not? My website's ugly. They bring the ugly website shame to the table, and there's just kind of this hot mess express of things that they say, I don't love this part, and I want my business to be more palatable and more aligned with who I am, and then put that out in the world. And that's where Kara and I get to step in that very supportive space of, okay, here's the marketing element, here's the authenticity, here's the creative juice and fire that Kara brings to the table and her team brings to the table, and then we unleash it on them, Felicia.
Yes, you do. In fact, my opt-in, if you opt in for my gift, these two are the ones that put it together and put it in your team and put it together beautifully. So that's an overview. So what are the particulars that you help people with? Because, and here's the thing, that as you're listening to this, right, you're not just listening to what JoDee and Kara do. What you're listening for is what they do is actually the outline of what anybody needs to do. I just happen to bring you these two amazing experts to support you with this. And so as you're sharing this, JoDee, I want everybody to hear that this is the blueprint. And I don't care what business you're in or what you're doing, what you're getting ready to hear is the blueprint on what you need to do in order for people to find out who you are and what you're up to.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. Go ahead, sister. Kara and I both are like, ooh, I want to tell her about the pillar.
I don't know how great my internet connection is, so flag me if it's just being terrible. There's too many things going on in May. May's always wild. So more of the specifics, what we've realized after 10 years of developing amazing brands and websites and digital marketing for our clients is the deep need for authenticity and just truly showing who you are with everything from, of course, your brand, all of your messaging, even your social media. Like, we're becoming connoisseurs with social media for inauthenticity. We're like, oh, I'm not going to follow that person, or this person is so real, I want more of what they have to say. So getting going with branding and websites and digital marketing, we've realized the number one element is the entrepreneur, making sure that the entrepreneur is so grounded.
So grounded, or pick up her words, JoDee.
Yeah, so grounded. And the funny part is we've been doing that long enough. So yeah, so that what Kara was outlining is pillar one. And that's where we dive in and get to know that entrepreneur and help them even get to know themselves. Like, there is really that scrubbing part, right? And you take that much deeper than we go, but that is the most important first step of, I think, what makes our results much more aligned and very powerful for our clients. So that's pillar one. Pillar two is business strategy. That's where we dive in and say, okay, what's performing really well in the business and what maybe needs to be tweaked? Do they have a bridge offer? Do people understand how to come in? Really making sure that that piece is aligned so that people have an easy way to say yes. I want to work with you and to step forward. So those two pillars are first and foremost. From there, pillar three is branding. Pillar four is website, and pillar five is digital marketing. Because once you have those foundational first two figured out, then your branding can be on point. Your words sound like you. The tone is right. The images are correct. The website then embodies it. And then your digital marketing presents that out to the world in a really powerful way where people go, oh my God, Felicia's my person. She's been around this mountain. Why go anywhere else? Like, I can hear in her stories that she is right. And once the digital marketing says that and the website and the branding aligned, buckle up, right? That's the piece.
That's great, JoDee. So how did you all get into this?
I love it. I think by default, honestly. So Kara and I grew up in a home with a mama who was a female entrepreneur. She was very creative, very artistic, which Kara and I both are, but don't tell her Kara's more than I am. Don't ever admit that.
It's recorded. I'm just
Yes. So Kara definitely takes it to the next level. So we both wandered down that path, getting degrees in design. But from there, I stepped into marketing and communications, and Kara developed her love of web development and all things tech that I just, oh my goodness, not my forte. So between the two of us, 10 years ago, Kara flew the 1,100 miles to where I was living at the time in Western Wisconsin. And we had a weekend brainstorm powwow. We like to call it a powwow session with, colored markers and Post-it notes and in the whole, whiteboard, and wrote out our dream business, right? What do we want to create here? And where our experiences aligned and who we felt called to serve is really where Elevate 5 began.
Yeah, that's great, JoDee. Yeah. Well, and I want to acknowledge the courage it takes, right, to pay attention to that stirring, pay attention to that discontent, and then to give yourself permission to be able to lean in and breathe into. So what would we love? That takes such courage to do that, especially when you're leaving, a corporate job or any kind of job. I never worked corporate. And so, I didn't have that experience of leaving corporate, but of course, I worked like school systems and that sort of thing. To step into this. And so what was the so this is about grounding ourselves in spiritual principle, right?
Yeah.
So what was the thing that was the real growing edge for you, the thing that you had to stare down and overcome in order to make that leap?
Gosh, that's really good, Felicia. I think, well, for one, Kara and I were each other's, I was going to jokingly say kryptonite, but I would, if I'm going to be honest, it's gift. I mean, really, truly, we saw in each other what sometimes is difficult to see in yourself. And again, that's why we seek out the coaches and mentors and the business partners. And we're really blessed to have that. So the growing edge was, gosh, I was loving, at the time I was educating on digital marketing at a university in Wisconsin, and I loved it. I mean, it was beautiful. I was serving kids and they were being moved. And I remember honestly, it would have been 11 years ago last month that I stood in front of one of my digital marketing classes, and I was going to tell them all about the beauty that is Adobe Creative Suite, which I do love me some Illustrator and some InDesign, Felicia. But I remember standing there and very specifically thinking, if only I could teach you about what really matters today. And find that was the edge, that I wanted a space to serve where I could tell, there's so much more than just this creativity, the sales and the, having the right software. But I wanted to find where both align, because I wanted to use the right and the left brain. And so Kara and I together got brave and crazy enough and disillusioned, like we shared in the intro, that, hey, I think we can do this. So Kara had already been operating her business. I was still teaching on the side. So I always like to say I got to teach in theory and then practice in our new company that we had together. So I did both of those for a few years, and that helped the type A, I always joke, the type AAA in me make that transition, because I was really kind of serving from both angles. And Kara's much braver and much wilder. So she leapt in a great big leap of faith, as per norm for her.
Well, what I love about this, and first of all, please in the comment section, share if you're watching live or the replay. And JoDee is really dropping some profound nuggets here in terms of what is the process of making the leap from, a job, that level of security, whatever it is, to stepping into this desire that's knocking at the door of your heart. We just happen to be talking about entrepreneurship. And what I love about what you just said is that you had somebody who saw something in you that you may not have necessarily been able to see in yourselves, and how important it is to have that person or those people who can be your partner in believing in that moment, that you can borrow their belief, that you can say, all right, I may not be able to see it for myself, but I can see that you see it in me. And what I love about this, JoDee, is that this is what you do for your people.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. Felicia, you have such a way with framing things. I just love that. It's so beautiful. And that is the truth of it, Felicia, is I think, as we're growing, we can hold that belief for a time, but it's difficult to hold it in seasons of opposition. And that's certainly part of the journey as well, right? That's part of our sharpening in our challenges. And to have Kara and I on that same team and hold it for each other in the beginning, and then be able to step into, the coaches and the communities that were very, intentionally selected and aligned in those seasons. That was a big deal. It really is key as you're growing your business, and it's never comfortable, is it?
No, and that's the good news. If you're doing,
I love that you frame it that way.
Yeah, that if you're doing something that is routine, or just like you can just flip it off kind of thing, that water off of a duck's back, it means that you're still swimming in the same circle. I mean, think about it. I have no thought about going to the faucet and turning on the water for the faucet. It is such a routine expectation. When I step out to do something that I've never done before, it's going to be you're going to be scared. You're going to have some anxiousness, and it's evidence that you're willing to step on an edge that you've never stepped into before, that you're stepping into a world. And so you want that anxiousness and to have somebody there with you, holding your hand, supporting you into that new territory, which, again, I love that you don't just do marketing, JoDee. You and Kara don't just do marketing. As you were sharing earlier, you help people really see authentically who they really are, hold the space for them to step in and believe it about themselves, and then show them how to unlock that power in order for them to serve and create a thriving business. You're doing it for each other. You allow other people around you to support you with this. And I'm, really grateful that I've been able to do it in my own way with you all.
Yeah.
And that this is what you're doing for other people. So what would you say? So we have a wide variety of different people that are watching this, right?
Absolutely.
And engaging. And no matter where you are along the continuum in terms of building out your work, whether it's a business or whether you're working for somebody else and you're looking for a way to increase your impact, intra dynamic, intra business company, whatever, there's a word there that's not coming to me, but an entrepreneur, that's what it's called, that you're an entrepreneur. What would you say that you see is probably the consistent biggest mistake that people make along the way? Whether they're just starting out, they're midway, they're further down the road.
Felicia, that's so good. I think it's the same element. There's different ways. It has different flavors, or it shows up in slightly different ways for different individuals. So I think the biggest mistake is that they're not showing up as powerfully as they intend. And that's true for all of us.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true for Kara and I. And then here's the piece. It's true at every new season. It's true at every new edge, at every new threshold. You once again have to level up. So when we talk about our pillars and going all the way around those, you circle back on them. And dang it, like, don't we just wish we could arrive? I know I've shared this with you before. I'm that personality that I want the finish line and then I want to go to the next, even if it's the next phase of the same race, I want to go to the next phase. But that is not how it is run. It is really, a circular piece where you're coming back around, but you are spiraling, you're leveling up.
Yeah.
Right. So what we find is that the people aren't showing up as powerfully as they intend, and that the different flavors can be, it could be something as simple as, I hate social media, so I'm not showing up there. So where can I show up? Where is most powerful? And they'll ask the first part, or they'll state the first part with fervor, but then not figure out what the next piece is, because let's not force ourselves to live in the space that we don't love comfortably.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean we can't exist there and thrive there, but what do you love? Like, there's your question. What do you love in your marketing? Like, if you're a speaker and you love to teach, how can we get you in front of a room? How can we get you in front of a workshop, whether it's virtual, whether it's live? Like, how can we craft your marketing to fit you in a way that lights you up, so there's no question as to whether you do it. You're drawn into it. You can't not do it. So that's one element. And there can, like I said, different flavors. It might be that your business isn't quite aligned to how you want to show up. Like maybe you're teaching, but you're not teaching an exact the right topic that lights you on fire. Like there's the strategy side, there's the marketing side, there's the brand side and the messaging side. And once you figure out how to show up in a way that is powerfully you, that takes the lid off of things for a whole nother stratosphere of growth, right?
Yeah.
We like to unleash that.
Well, what I love is that you don't have a formula. Right. You don't have a one size fits all. And I want everybody to hear this, right? And it's interesting because I just had a conversation with somebody who was talking about, people were telling me to do social media and this, and I just don't like it. And what I love, JoDee, is that you're, continuing the question that I asked I don't care what it is. The most powerful question that you can work with, whatever the situation is what would I love? Because when we work with that question, you're tapping into the stream of love itself. It lights your heart up, and you are going to show up for that. If you're trying to force something, and what I love about what you're sharing, And what you all do is that you don't demand somebody follow a particular recipe, but that you really do listen deeply and get in and find out where is this person's heart leading them. And then you build the structure around them in order for them to live from their heart in a way that they're able to make the impact that they're here to make as they create a life that they love.
Oh, I love how you worded that. And that's just it, is that there are ingredients that are the same for each of the clients. Like I would say in this day and age, you do need a professional website. That is something that we should all have. It can look a lot of different ways. It can be very simple. It can be more complex. It can be more automated. It can be more, just it's a living, breathing blog even. Like there's all these different levels of solution that we can apply based upon what that person really wants to how they want to show up and what they love. I know we keep saying that word, but it's what they love, because if you do love it, you will do it. If you read it, then that's the piece that's it's the last item on my task list of the day. And when life gets lifey, guess what doesn't happen? That thing. And if that is your marketing item, ouch, business growth looks a little sparse.
Well, and here's the thing, that if business growth is looking sparse, it means people are suffering.
Oh, yes.
Because you're not reaching those people that you are meant to serve. And so if we leave those items off because you have those things on that list that do not light you up, then ultimately your person goes to bed suffering.
Oh, yeah, some good old-fashioned guilt in there for all of us.
This is
true. No, I love that, Felicia. It is true, because we were this is a little story. It just happened last night, and a really good friend of Kara and I's lost a son about 18 months ago, and his classmates are graduating this year. And this woman was brave enough. She developed a scholarship for him. And she stood in front of that class of those beautiful souls and their parents. And she talked about her son. And I was honored to be able to write a little mini speech for her so that she was comfortable to share something. But then my daughter and I actually went and held space for her. And she spoke it beautifully. Like she was very much in her element speaking it. But she needed to know that she was anchored over here, and we got to hold the belief that she could do it. And she said, if I get too choked up, will you step in? And she just needed to know the safety net was there. She just needed to know someone held the belief. And that's so true for just what you're saying is we can do it. We need to be challenged to do it. But sometimes we need a partner off to the side saying, okay, I got you. Yes, you need the new website, or you need the new brand, or you're going to go step into a speaking element of your business. And we can help support you in that and point you along the way. But it's very doable when you have that expertise in your corner.
That's it. We are not meant to do this alone. So, JoDee, since the name of this podcast live is the spiritual side of business, what does it look like for you to bring spiritual principles into your business? Now, the whole conversation has been based in spiritual principles, and for you in particular, what does that mean? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I think you know the story, but Elevate 5 was actually based on Kara and I's calling, spiritual calling, which was, we didn't understand it 10 years ago, but it was very much based for us upon our beliefs around the Bible and being called forward in Matthew 5, bring your light forward and let it shine and lift others in the process. So how we looked at that at the time was very, very functional. Like, okay, we can make websites and brands for business owners that need to attract more clients so that they can grow their revenue. So yes, that is a part of what we do. But what's evolved over the years is the more nuanced side, or the more woo side, which is it's much more powerful when that is aligned. So my gift is seeing others' gifts. So I love on the front end of our business when I get to talk to the Felicias or talk to the new client coming in, and we don't always see that in ourselves, right? It's difficult to see our own forest for the trees, right? So I'm able to see the gifts that maybe they've not previously put their finger on exactly. It's just the skill that they do that everyone else is in awe of, but they're not even really cognizant of it happening. And then Kara, she comes alongside and she is this multiplier. She multiplies with joy. So she comes in and adds the spice to the life and makes the whole thing come out. And it's, you know, we've joked on this. That's where that together we make one whole functioning adult. That's where that joke comes from. But it's really actually very true, because it's that the pairing of those gifts really help us create the powerful results for our clients. Because if we just had my end or we just had her end, it wouldn't be as strong in the result. And our team is so amazing in supporting each step of the process, and their clutch as well. So we're really blessed there. So the spiritual gift is showing other people their spiritual gift, and then giving them the languaging and the marketing and the branding that helps them show it to others. So you'll like this part, Felicia. So this is getting back into the, you know, the nitty-gritty deliverables of it. But what we love when we do a website and a brand is we reveal them to our clients. And we always threaten, and we're going to start, I swear, you know, on my grave, this is what I'm doing. We're going to start recording these calls, because we've had happy tears.
Yeah.
We've had happy cussing. That was maybe my favorite. There would be more beeps in that particular one. I love that response, because they see themselves differently after that. You know, it's like a mirror being held up, and you suddenly get to see how other professionals see you. And they step out differently after that. They attract differently after that. They're more magnetic. They're more confident. The results are very real in their business and even in their lives, just how they interact with themselves.
That's so great.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah, it is. And I love that it's based, you know, in a spiritual principle, right? And, you know, from the Christian tradition of shining your light and embracing your gifts, and that you've embraced them, and that as you embrace them, then you're to help other people see and embrace them. So you've got, which I'm thrilled that I get to be a part of, you have an event coming up.
Yes.
So please share people, number one, where else, you know, where can they find you? Where can they get, not just where can they find you, where can they get more of you? And how can they come hang out with us in Southern Colorado in July?
I love it. I love it. So we have ranch camp. So here's where you know, all the business mastery and all of the spiritual side of authenticity and what you're called to do and all the marketing comes together. And we've decided to do it at the ranch, because why shouldn't we have fun while we're doing this? Because we can. So the concept is 2 days, very intentionally curated to be moving and life-changing for people. So day one is mindset shift. Day two is really anchoring that into your business in a powerful way. And people will leave with a takeaway that is so strong and so life-changing. So I've gone to some events in the past and I love them, but I think we all like, oh, I loved that. Maybe I would do this different, you know. So it's this beautiful piece to curate an event that is very experiential. They're going to be on the ranch. They're going to be up in the mountains. But it's also minimalistic, because we want them to connect with the other attendees. They're not going to be overly trained. They're not going to be overly scheduled. There's margin. We want
you are not going to be overly trained or overly scheduled, because you're coming. So just focus on yourself.
I love that. I love that. And so Felicia is one of our speakers. We have 2 speakers, one each day outside of Kara and myself. You know, one is very intentional. So we're going to cold plunge, Felicia. I've not done it before. I'm so excited. So Mountain Creek cold plunge. There is no have to, but the opportunity is there for us to step into. And we've got someone coming in that does this daily. It's part of her spiritual practice and taking care of her emotional health and growth. So she's going to come and lead us through that activity and really anchor in some of those changes. So the concept being, what aren't we accessing in ourselves? What depth aren't we accessing? How can we change the story or the limiting belief or the mindset that maybe's been dragging along behind us like old baggage? Like, what are we going to ditch and then anchor in? So we have that experience. And then day 2 is all about rewriting that story of what your business is about and how it attracts people. And Felicia is going to be there to talk about the spiritual money mindset side of that and how that directly affects revenue goals and you know, most certainly in the business, but also in how that looks for the entrepreneur themselves. So it's a very curated event that way. It's July 18th and 19th. very reasonably priced. All food and meals are included. Lodging is off the ranch. We've got a lot of different options for people, whether they'd prefer a hotel or an Airbnb, or if they want to bring a tent and stay right at the ranch, they can do that too. So it's just going to be a beautiful experience, and we're really happy to get to welcome people to the ranch for that Yellowstone meets Tony Robbins business event meets girlfriends and snacks. Like, it's going to be great.
Oh, I am so looking forward to it. So there's the link. And then I will also put the link in the description. So please check it out. Come join us. We would love to have you. And, in terms of going deeper with me, as you're honing your vision, you're owning your vision, you're stepping into this next, talking about going up the spiral, please join my Facebook group, Ultimate Life Now, where I have video guides on how to really support yourself in moving up the spiral, doing weekly trainings like this, and just lots of resources to support you in stepping into the next, even more amazing version that you are created to be as you create the life that you love and the life of impact that you love. So JoDee and Kara, I see that Kara is still with us, even though she had to drop off. Just thank you so much for sharing your presence and your brilliance and really supporting this community in discovering more of who they are created to be and supporting them with stepping in. So you can access this recording, watch this again to really glean the gold nuggets. And again, put your gold nuggets in the chat so we can share this with everybody. So have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching. Mwah! You are amazing. God bless.